Hey everybody, Bill in Virginia here. Welcome back. So this time I've got a number of little projects I'm going to be working on the On30. First one, simple little project. The fascia was not aligning very well down at the bottom between the center and this side module. So I glued a shim in. That shim is glued to the 1x4s that the fascia is screwed onto. And just kind of move it out a little bit, and I will take a nice hacksaw once that sets overnight and cut that so you'll never see it. But it makes for a nice smooth transition along the fascia for that side of the layout. So let's go over to the other side and I'll show you a little bit about what I've been doing over there so far. So I spent a little while this evening and I got the window in on this kit, painted it up a little bit. And then I have weathered the building with sort of a black, grimy wash to make it look like it's been around for a while. You can see I also did a little bit of rust on the hinges for those doors. I'll add some chalk weathering to this as well. And then I did paint the tar paper roof, and looks like I've got to come back in with a little bit more paint to touch up. Once it dries, I can see that. So I'll touch that up, and then I'll come back in with some chalks and highlight that. But this little building is pretty much done. I've got all of those nice metal casting details that once I get everything in place, will be placed around this as well as other areas. So this is a new video clip, not one from a couple of episodes ago. I got a new one in. I ordered off eBay. It arrived today. Today is Friday. So I think it's the exact same size as the other one. I'll know once I open it up and read the instructions, but it looks about the same. So I've got my hollow drum right here. I will drill it out to match the size of the collar, get it put in place, and wire it up with some longer leads, solder those, and then heat shrink them, and then do a little bit of electrical tape in a couple of spots just so that I've got the tape acting as a tension relief. And then I'll run it up to that toggle switch, put some fluid in this, and if all goes well, puffs of white smoke at the cabin. So I won't show a lot of videos since I did do this one just recently here. But I'll show you once I get it in place and the scene is complete. So this will be coming a little bit later. I'll also be doing some other smaller projects yet. So just a little shot of installation. You can see how I've got the copper pipe in. It's about 1/2 inch long, and I have it recessed just a hair below grade level. Now if you come back this way, the way I've got grass and other things around it, you're not going to see that base. So I will finish feeding the lines in, and then I'll show you just as the drum is sitting on top. There we go. The second smoke feature is in and working. So just like the other one, it's tied into that toggle. So I only will turn it on when I want to. Oh, that's fun. Maybe in the future I might put something in down in the central service area as well. Don't know. We'll see. But that adds a nice little touch. See the smoke going through the trees. I can't do the cabin chimney because that's a plaster feature. So no way I could get that in, but future layouts, now that I know that this works and works pretty well, I can have some fun putting some smoke in. I do like that as it goes into the trees. There's a nice little effect there. Yeah, cool. Okay, on to do something else. So it's Saturday afternoon, and I have been putting in some additional detailing in this area of the layout. I bought a bunch of flowers at different hobby shops over the past few weeks. So I've come in and I have added some. So I've added some where the gentleman is taking a picture of the lady. A little bit over here, you know, some tufts of flowers there, a few there, just a little bit, three little tufts there, a little singular tuft there. Then I did come up, added just, you know, a little bit here. And if you look on the side of the track there, just a couple there. There's a few small patches of color you can see in there. You know, I like flowers. I like to add color. I find that I don't want to add too much. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, a little is enough. So I could carpet an area in flowers, but it just doesn't look natural. You know, if you're out driving, you're going to be driving past areas that are just dirt. You're going to be driving past areas that have tall grass. You're going to be driving past areas that have a lot of flowers. And in scale work, I think small clusters work better than a lot, at least, you know, in this kind of scenery. So I did do a little bit more over at the cabin as well with some vegetation. I'll show you what I did over there next. So over at the cabin, I added some sunflowers there in the corner. Figured a little bit there would look nice. I've still got, you know, some odds and ends of things to place around the cabin, wash tubs, you know, different things like that. Kind of into the woods, rusting a little bit, but a little bit of vegetation there. And then over on this side, let the camera focus, added some pumpkin vines growing. Got a pumpkin there, and they've already picked a couple of pumpkins, which viewers that know, you know, when I talked earlier about what season it is, you know, it's bright green, everything's growing, it's spring. Well, apparently now it's late fall and it's, you know, nice warm temperatures after a lot of rain, so everything's green. Because otherwise, those pumpkins would not be that in the early spring. They'd be maybe a few vines, but no pumpkins. So anyway, my world, my imagination of what I want to do. All right, and that's pretty much all that I want to put in right now for flowers. I'll probably add some stuff over in the service area in a few areas once I get there. Might come over here later and add a few in some areas, but nothing that I'm going to do today. So let's get into something else here and see what I can get done yet. So while I'm over on this side, you can see how the fascia looks. I used a hacksaw and just took off the exposed piece of that little wedge that I put in to align the fascia. So that makes it look nice. I don't have that little gap like I did before. So next thing I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put the engines away and see what other mischief I can get into over on this layout here. Well, it's Friday night and I haven't done a whole lot. I am going to put some cars on that train here after bed. What I've done the rest of this week has been adding a little bit more in the way of flowers, just in kind of scattered locations along here. I said I was going to add a little bit, and I did. I really like those little tufts. And then again, just a little bit over on this side. Definitely have to do the tunnel liner in there. That I'm probably going to do here fairly soon. Also added in just a couple of tufts and scattered areas here. Just enough, again, to give it a little bit of color, but not too much. Did some over on the other side as well that I don't think I've shown, so I'll kind of head over there and we'll keep it up. So same thing over on this side. A few little tufts here and there just to add in a little bit more color in a few areas. So I think that's pretty effective, and I'm happy with that. Also, been playing around doing a little building of some trees, just to kind of experiment with here. So I built this tall one in the middle. It is a furnace filter tree as well. Did a little bit of a different style. You can kind of see how it looks from the top. Sort of a quasi southern yellow pine. Not wholly yet. I'm still not satisfied with the results, but the tree actually looks pretty decent. So I'm going to leave that on the layout in that location, and I'll show you a couple of others that I've been playing with here. Over here at the small workstation, I've been building a couple of other trees. So this one, let's see if I can show it a little better. Again, same trunk construction out of the grapevine wire, using florist wire, doing sort of the loop method on this one, and cutting the loops and then build it up with static grass. I think it looks decent. I'm not wholly satisfied with the results yet, but this is an experimental one, so I'm okay with it. Did come in with some spray paint on the bottom just to make the bottom of the needles look like a little bit dead, like you'd see in natural settings. So I'll find a place for this one. Again, this is a prototype tree that maybe some more I'll build a little different. And this one is under construction. Again, same thing, long exposed trunk. This one I'm hoping will look more like a yellow pine. This one, same basic process, grapevine wire. Then I'm using florist wire to build out the limbs, and then I'm using super tree material. And on this one, I am using 1/16 diameter heat shrink tubing. I had a little bit. What I was using on my other trees is 1/8 inch, and that's too big for this because the wires are pretty fine, even with them doubled up. So I've got some more on order, and then I'll finish this tree off. But from a distance, this I'm hoping will look more like a yellow pine, and we'll see. I am probably not going to use static grass on this one. I'll paint everything, and I think I'm just going to use the Woodland Scenic's fine turf sprinkled on it ever so lightly to get the effect that I'm after. We'll know next week once I get the heat shrink tube in. So anyway, that's a little bit about some of the stuff I've been doing on here. So see what else I can get into on this one. Well, one more piece, and I think that's going to do it for this one here. I am setting the tables up so that I can do some operating this afternoon, as well as some other things. And I found I really have to make sure that I've got it level. At the show a few weeks back, the floor was good, had it nice and level. Here, I was running the Heisler. You can see it sitting right there with no cars. Well, it hit high point, and I did not do a good job of leveling over on high point. And as a result, I've got a derailment. I just don't have a crane to clean this up. So I knew that was going to happen at some point in time. You know, the couplers didn't break. High point, I did not get it completely aligned right so that, you know, the tracks were flush. Train went over and the coupler essentially lifted or bounced out from the other coupler. Since these are smaller couplers, they don't have quite as much, you know, size to grab. And I heard it let go, and I ran over here just in time to see the caboose disappear that way. And then over this way, here's the result. Now you can see why on this corner I built trees up and a little bit of a ridge right in there, knowing that at some point in time it was going to happen, and this is going to be where it's going to have a lot of acceleration as it's coming through, and if it's going to derail, it's going to derail here. And it did. Trees caught it, nothing hit the floor. I'm a happy camper. The guy or guys in the caboose probably had the you know what scared out of them. Coffee flew everywhere. They're probably cussing up a storm right now, or just praying and thanking God they're alive. Anyway, I'm going to get that cleaned up, and I'm going to get this thing leveled properly, and then I'm going to do some more running. So probably on the start of the next one, you're going to see trains running. All right, that's it. Keep having fun on your layouts. Until next time.